Hello, welcome to Kitchen Basics 101, where I teach you the bare bone basics as if you've never cooked a day in your life from the perspective of a mom. I get this question a lot about spices, and I thought you don't want to just see me standing here like talking to you while I'm talking to you about it. So I thought, well, I've made you chicken cutlets before, but I'm making chicken cutlets again. And I was like, I'll just make them while I'm here talking to you about it. The way it is in a real house is there's favorites that I cook like every single week. So I make cutlets every single week for my kids. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about seasoning. This is in my opinion, a good rule of thumb for seasoning is to season based on region. So for example, if I'm making like Italian food, right? There are some seasonings that are like quintessentially Italian. Garlic obviously is one of them. Oregano, parsley, rosemary are very Italian seasonings. You're going to find them in an Italian seasoning blend. So if you're making cutlets or you're making something that's Italian, then I would recommend you season with Italian seasonings. If you're in the world of Asia and you're making Asian food and they say, oh, season with what you want to. Asian food, garlic is definitely there, but you're going to find sesame oil. You're going to find soy sauce or shoyu. You're going to find ginger. Those are more lemongrass, maybe, depending on what regions of Asia you're talking about. So my good rule of thumb would be to think about where the dish comes from. Now, where this rule gets a little complicated is if this dish is American food. So if you're thinking like, yeah, but what seasonings are quintessentially American, then it's regional because the United States, and I mean, that's true about other countries too, that there's regional cuisines, but the United States seasonings are more broken up into like the South, the West, the Midwest, maybe. And that's just like types of food. So if you're having a food that's more like meatloaf, right, for example, there's not a lot of seasoning in foods like that. So you don't have to worry as much. Now, I have taught on this channel before that to me, if you have salt, pepper, and garlic, you have seasonings, okay? And let's not forget that when you add actual physical elements to a dish, they provide seasonings as well. And what I mean by this is people will say, oh, you didn't season it when it's got a whole head of garlic and it's got onions and it's got paprika and or not paprika, it's got red peppers. Dude, that's onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika right there, only in the fresh form. So don't be bullied into the idea that you have to use a ton of dry seasonings. You don't. Most food, you want the star of the show to shine, okay? And so what you do is you choose the best quality ingredients that you can afford, and simple tastes delicious. What I mean by this is, let's say you're doing steak, okay? Steak doesn't need anything but salt. Like a high quality steak, like a filet mignon or maybe a porterhouse, all you need is salt. And the reason is because the steak has incredible flavor. Now, if it's ground beef, it's not as good as steak. So now you have to start adding seasonings to it to give it more flavor, right? Turkey doesn't have that much flavor. You have to add seasonings. So when we talk about seasonings, you have to consider that as well. The higher quality the ingredient, the higher flavor that the ingredient has, the less you need to season. A chicken thigh has incredible flavor. If you salt and pepper a chicken thigh and you cook it up, it is juicy and delicious. It has tons of flavor. Now, you could go, Moroccan style and put 20 seasonings on that chicken, and that's going to be delicious too, but it's going to be a different flavor than just roasting the chicken on its own, right? Mediterranean or Greek, you would do lemon, you would do oregano, always lemon, always lemon. Greeks, I don't think, make anything that doesn't have lemon in it, which is why their food is so freaking delicious. So definitely lemon. Some of these overlap with each other. So like Italian food, like I said, is going to have, basil, parsley, rosemary. Well, Greek food is going to have a lot of those same flavors, right? Greek's going to lean maybe a little more oregano. It's going to definitely lean more lemon, but there's a lot of lemon in Italian food too, because those are similar regions who have similar cuisines. So when you're seasoning, also keep in mind what you like. what flavors do you like? And how can you incorporate those flavors into your food? You know, for instance, like I don't like onion. So you don't see me putting onion powder in every single dish because that's all I can taste because I don't like onions. So, but I love garlic. So you'll see I use a lot of garlic. So it's really like a personal preference thing. And, you know, don't be afraid to experiment, right? It's okay to make a dish that doesn't turn out great. I make bad food all the time that I make it. I go, not that recipe again, never making that again. But if you never try and make something, then you'll never know, right? So you have to continually experiment with like, today I'm going to really put some thyme in here and see if I'm a thyme girl and I like thyme, right? Or I'm going to put a bay leaf in and see if I can taste the difference. And if you can't, then leave it out because there's no seasoning police that's going to tell you you have to put bay leaf in it. If you don't like that flavor, then you don't use it. If you ever hear a chef saying, oh, it was under seasoned or need to be seasoned more, they mean salt. They don't even mean seasonings the way that, you know, TikTok be putting like 52 pounds of seasoning in every single thing. That's not what they mean at all when they say it was under seasoned. They mean salt. And, you know, I know a lot of us are afraid of salt, but if you eat in a restaurant, you're eating, or any type of food that you're not making at home, you are eating way more salt than you think you are eating. Ask any chef and they will tell you they salt at every single step along the way. So, because, you know, salt adds tremendous flavor. Salt accentuates the flavors that are already there, right? Salt brings out the chicken flavor. Salt brings out the beef flavor. So that's the reason that salt is such an important component in these dishes, is because it really, you know, highlights the flavor that you already have and that already exists in the food that you're making. So those would be my tips. Think regional, stay in the regions that dish comes from. That's a great way. And don't be afraid to experiment. You have to try things to know what you like. You know, I don't like onion powder. I wouldn't know that unless I put onion powder in tons of dishes and every time went, it's all I can taste. All I can taste is the onion powder. So you just have to learn what you like and use it. That's the sort of the joy. I know that people are scared, like, oh, I'm going to do it wrong. I need the exact measurements. I need the exact ingredients. But really learning to love to cook the way I teach you in your kitchen is learning that, like, there is no right way and wrong way. There is just ways that you think are delicious and dishes that you enjoy and that you want to feed your family and that you want to eat yourself. There's no right and there's no wrong. So I love you guys.